Welcome to Halas Hall Report, live every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and Sunday mornings at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Live talking Chicago Bears football with Mike the Bear Fan. And your host, Ken Dobb. Also on the panel, we have the football analyst, Woody, who was named for the Woody wrap-up on game days. Next on the panel, we have Bear Down Mike. He is the youngest, but don't be fooled. This guy knows this Bear squad. He can bring a different insight. Halas Hall Report breaks down the Chicago Bears team all year long, from the offseason through the draft. Also, the legend of tailgating, Billy Defense Flores, joins the crew live at 1st and 10 tailgating. You can find him at all home games at Soldiers Field. Also, the Bear Fan, who has been here since the first year of Halas Hall Report, welcome Bear Fan Dan, where he is known for studs and duds after every game. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Roku if you have a TV. They are all over social media. You won't find no better sources for Chicago Bears news like injury reports, team updates for breaking news for all the good and the bad the team does. Halas Hall Report will be live for the 6th season. And they are teaming up with the best sports podcast out on social media.
This is Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Halas Hall Report, Chicago Bears News. I'm your host today. Ken is on vacation, Arizona. Don't fall in the Grand Canyon, please. My colleagues on the panel today is Bear Down Mike. What's going on?
What's going on, Woody?
We got two surprise guests. Is Ken the Packer backer, host of Ken and Ken News during the week. How you doing, Ken?
Oh, not too bad. Nice to see you, Woody.
And another surprise guest, Mr. Rob Haspels. I miss you very much, like you miss. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, bro. How you doing?
Good. And we got our producer, Mike, that's in the background doing some sharing. So we're here to talk some Chicago Bears and some NFL other news. So, Mike, start doing the slides and let's talk. I want to talk about this Caleb Williams shit like we're talking right now, his scouting report. This is his positives. Great arm talent, throws with good velocity, and can manipulate the ball's flight to make any throw. So I'm going to go to the Bears fans first. Mike, the Bear fan, what do you think about his positives going into this season if we draft him? Bear Down Mike, go ahead.
He can do those off platinum throws. I like what I see. I like my quarterback to be confident. A lot of people saying he's arrogant. I think it's more confidence. But I've watched some of his games and some of his good games, some of his bad games, and if he's legit, then Poles got to take him.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows how I feel about this, like who I like better, but we're gonna stick with the Caleb Williams shit talk. Ken, what do you think about the Bears and Caleb Williams positives?
Yeah, Caleb Williams has got a hell of an arm talent. He's shown that he's got almost every physical skill that you look for, which I don't think you guys go wrong if you pick him. To me, that's the guy you should be going for because he's got the highest ceiling. With the number one overall pick, to me, that's what you look for is the highest ceiling.
Well, yeah, I see him throwing 70-yard bombs.
Oh, yeah.
Right onto the receiver's hands. I want to see him do that with a Max Crosby running at him, T.J. Watt running at him, and then going up against cornerbacks as well. Then that's the real test. Rob, how are you, sir? You said you're good?
Oh, doing all right, man.
So what do you think
Caleb
Williams, if we draft him, what do you think about his positive or negatives?
I think it's a positive. Like last year, watching UFC, I said pretty consistently, if the Vikings were ever to just mortgage the farm to move up and grab somebody, this should be the guy. And then, he didn't have the best year this last year, but you can still see, the talent that he brings. Obviously, any rookie, if they have to start year one, you got to manage expectations in terms of wins and losses. But as far as potential, or like the last guy said, the ceiling, what Ken said, the ceiling on the quarterback, I think that's why he's kind of the consensus number one pick overall. And I think that you guys, in one move, if you do take him at number one, will instantly upgrade your quarterback position for probably the next decade.
And we have another surprise guest, Florida Vikes guy. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. How y'all doing? It's
Good.
actually Colin.
Colin, yeah, aren't you the NFL trivia winner for like 10 years in a row?
That was the rumor.
So what do you think about Bears drafting Caleb Williams and his positive and negatives? Would you, as a Vikings fan, would you be scared of Caleb Williams if we draft him in the NFC North?
I'm not sure, because honestly, I mean, they just did an interview with Jaden Johnson, the guy you just signed, and he pretty much was laying down the law like, hey, Caleb, you're gonna have to step in line and do this or that. I think he has the physical potential to do a lot of things, but honestly, I think Washington made a very slick move by getting Cliff Kingsbury, and if you could get some draft capital just to move back one spot and take Jaden Daniels, I think that would be a better move for the Bears, because he doesn't have any character issues. He's older than Caleb Williams. He's been around the block, and he's the kind of guy that I feel like, with the veterans that you got with Keenan Allen, having DJ Moore, Komet, and then bringing in DeAndre Swift, I feel like he's a more pro-ready. Put him in there, he'll be a better teammate than Caleb Williams. But that's just me.
Yep, Colin, you are thinking like I am. I want Jaden Daniels, and it was never done drafting up. Like, if Washington trades up, it was never done 2-1. So we'll see what happens. And I do believe when Kingsbury's there, that's the reason why he went there, because he knows Washington needs a quarterback. And I'm still thinking Washington will still get Caleb Williams. Now, Rob, I know I mentioned before when we drafted Justin Fields, you said you'd be nervous and scared of our team with Justin Fields. What do you think about Caleb Williams?
I said good things about Justin Fields. I don't remember ever saying anything good about Justin Fields.
No, I didn't say before we drafted him, because of his mobility. That's what you were.
Okay, yeah. I've actually never been a Justin Fields fan, to be honest, and I did think that, yes. If I did say anything to that effect, it's because of Minnesota's long, illustrious history of just struggling horribly against any kind of mobile quarterback. And to be fair, Justin Fields did, do a lot with his legs and everything else. But if you look at how your team is set up, right? You just went out and last year you ended up getting a person that could be considered top 10 wide receiver in the league, right? With Moore. And now you went and you picked up Keenan Allen. And then you got some young guys on the team. You've still got Cole Kmet, as far as I know, right? At tight end. Yeah, he's still on the roster. You got to have somebody, and I'm not saying you need to have a pocket passer. I think the days of a statue of your Tom Brady types are going away. You need to have a mobile quarterback, not necessarily a running quarterback, but a mobile quarterback that can still do, like you said earlier, and sling that rock for 70 yards and hit your fast guys down the field. DJ Moore is pretty fast, and yeah, he had a good season even with Fields. Now imagine if the consistency was there. I tend to agree with Colin. If I have my pick of anything, it'd be Jaden Daniels.
Thank you.
But I'm just hoping for Drake May at this point for our team, and hoping that somebody in the middle snags up Marvin Harrison Jr. or whatever. This is going to be one of the most interesting drafts in the NFC North in probably, I'm going to say, the last 10 years, just because of the quarterback situations in Chicago and Minnesota.
Yeah, we're going to go with Mike the Bear fan to see what he thinks, but bring your comments in so I can either argue with you or agree with you. So, Mike the Bear fan, what do you think about the Caleb Williams positives and negatives?
Well, there's always something negative, and about a player, you know what I mean? But everything that we've heard about Williams, and the more I look at the kid, did you see his pro day? It was pretty impressive. And he's pretty mobile. Like, he's no Justin Fields, don't get me wrong. Like, he's very athletic, Fields, and, you know, he's got the speed. But Williams, I'm not saying he's a Mahomes, but I don't think Poles can skip for the second year in a row the number one pick in the draft and pass another possible quarterback. Because look what CJ Stroud did. I'm not saying he's going to be a CJ Stroud, but say he does do a year like that and Poles passes on him, that's hurtful. But if he's on our team, especially with DJ Moore, like you said, and Keelan Allen, like that's one of the best wide receiving duos. I'm not saying top, but definitely the top 5, I'd say, for the duos. And with Komet, like there's no excuses. You know what I mean? We never gave Fields that opportunity with that kind of weapons. You know what I mean? And I don't mind it because it resets the market for the Bears. You know, we don't have to give them that $250 million contract.
Yep, and the Bears brought in Everett from the Chargers too, so we have like a 2 tight end duo that's pretty impressive. Now I thought Tunyon and Kmet would do something because Tunyon used to kill us when he was with Green Bay. Say Ken. Yeah.
Everett, I believe, is better than Tunyon for sure.
Yeah, so we have our weapons. We still need like that third or slot receiver, and like I said, our offense will be set. So here's the Chicago Bears scouting report. Here's the negatives. His footwork and you know the negatives always with the rookie quarterbacks. The footwork isn't always there all the time. So now, what do we think, Bear fan Mike?
Everything there is teachable, coachable, and trainable.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So what do you think about this negatives, Bear Down Mike?
Even in his pro day, you can see his footwork still needs work done. Mm-hmm. I know I didn't see it on there, but he doesn't do a lot of under center stuff. It's always out of the shotgun. That's a big problem because, you know, we all knew Justin could play that play action and sell it. We've seen it. Can Caleb do that? You know, yeah, he can be taught it, but it's going to be more effective. If his footwork is bad, that drop back is going to be even worse. So, you know, and he has a tendency to hold on to the ball just like Justin did and tries to be that big playmaker and throw it down the field to make a huge play instead of taking what the defense gives him. So there's a lot of negatives for that part.
So, Ken, what do you think about his negatives? This glorious Chia Pet number 1 pick.
That you left off the biggest negative, in my opinion, when it comes to Williams is his mentality. I worry that he isn't emotionally mature enough to handle starting quarterback duties. With what we've seen with how we've seen him act in college, that I'd be worried with all the pressure that comes with being a starting quarterback in the face of the franchise of just thrusting him in there. That I think you got to have some type of mentor for him. Even if the guy doesn't start, somebody to constantly be in this kid's ear of, hey, you know, this is why it went wrong. Don't beat yourself up because you don't want him to have a breakdown and go into a shell.
Right. Colin, what do you think?
You're on mute.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry. I think one big problem that you guys have just as an organization in general is where is the training quarterback that's going to teach this kid how to do things? Like, I think the biggest negative, and if there's one thing that the Packers have done well over the years, is to not rush somebody into a position like this. I mean, you got all the veteran weapons, you got this and that, but where is the veteran, like, bridge quarterback? Even if he's not going to be the starter, where is the veteran bridge quarterback that's going to show a guy who's already proven super cocky? He supposedly said he wants part ownership of the team. Like, I just don't know if he has the mentality to do it. And I didn't necessarily think Fields was a horrible quarterback, but I don't think you had an offensive mind that was able to shed the true talents that he had and adjust the offense to how the quarterback was. If you're going to trade up to get a quarterback like that, you might as well build every possible weapon you can around him. I don't know if Caleb Williams is going to be able to step in with guys like Keenan Allen and guys like DJ Moore or veteran presence. They could help, but I feel like just his mentality, he just seems like he's just going to walk in there, be top of the lock. And I'm sorry, the Bears have not had a good history of having quarterbacks that just step right in and do that. So I think they need to get a like a Tannehill or somebody in there that's been around the block. I mean, it's pretty much all that's left. But maybe even trading for like a Tyrod Taylor, who maybe is of a similar skill level, I think that would be more of a better way to kind of ease the transition over for him to be the franchise quarterback.
I agree. Rob, we know you just said that all his negatives can be taught. Anything else you want to think about his negatives?
Just echoing what Colin said, a little bit of a counterpoint. I understand the kid's got attitude, and a lot of these rookies do. You'll notice that the ones that are going to succeed, that attitude tends to disappear real quick as soon as they're on a roster or as soon as they're in training camp. I'm actually surprised, and it's not just the Bears, the Vikings, but that nobody's tried to get a hold of Jerry Jones to trade for Trey Lance. And I'm not the biggest Trey Lance fan, but if you look at what's going on out there, would I rather have Trey Lance than Sam Darnold right now? Yeah. I think you guys would be in a better position. We do have a new quarterbacks coach in the building there in Minnesota. I think it's important, like I said earlier, to temper expectations. Not everybody's going to be like CJ Stroud, and have that kind of a year. You're going to have guys that are arguably as talented that are going to go through the Trevor Lawrence learning curve, if you want to put it that way. The important thing is you get better, and the things that can be corrected. I think Caleb Williams is teachable. As soon as you get a guy that and it doesn't matter if you're playing football, if you're in the Army or whatever in life, as soon as you become non-teachable, that's where you become worthless to whatever organization you're a part of. I think Caleb Williams is teachable. He's just like my kids. They're cocky as shit, I mean, that's all kids, I'll say that's why I say I think these things, they can be fixed.
Yeah, I think the worst thing about Caleb Williams is to get over his, and I don't know if you guys will agree with me, his ego. His ego already is just terrible. Like if you go into it, you want to own half a team, you're not even out of college yet. I mean, I would think your draft status will go to hell down. I don't care how good you are. Talking all this shit and stuff like that, man, get out of town, man. So I believe about Daniels. I just think that he would be a better fit for us. But all over the news, you know how the internet's right all the time. So we're picking Caleb Williams. So I won't agree with that or believe that until that number one pick is called out on draft day. So,
you got to think about the pressure that this kid is on too. You're coming into a club where the quarterback prior was well respected and beloved by the fans, right? That's a lot of pressure for a rookie QB. The only way he's going to earn the respect is out on the field during OTAs, minicamp, or Jalen Johnson said, don't bring that Hollywood stuff in here because it's not going to work.
Yeah,
true, but every year in, year out, we sit here and talk about what are we going to do, what are we going to do, and very rarely we are correct.
Yeah, I mean, even it's like the Barry Sanders with his father too. So I think his dad's part of this shit too, as well as with his son. And every father wants their kid to succeed in life and stuff like that. But don't build up your kid's ego like that, like you're trying to do about owning half a team. I'm like, who the hell are you? So that's where I take for that. So this is Ryan. This is Ryan Poles' replacements, and I'm gonna go around and think, hey, what does everybody think about this? Bear fan Mike, what do you think about Ryan Poles moving free agency so far?
100% improvement. That, man. I mean, think about it. We wasted 2 draft picks, right? And Keenan Allen and Montez Sweat, right? It's pretty much like we drafted Sweat in the 2nd round. We drafted Keenan Allen in the 4th round. You're not going to find any better players than that. So this is a home run hit for him.
Right. Ken, what do you think? Are you going to be scared of the Bears with these free agent pickups here?
I don't know if it's necessarily scared, but I definitely respect you guys a lot more. As long as Williams is even half of what he's billed to be, these games against each other are going to be very exciting games, and you guys might finally get a win against us in recent history.
Here we fucking go. You had to
Yeah, yeah. Hey, that was mild. You got to admit it.
This team is built to win now.
Oh yeah, I will give it to you. You guys could definitely be contending for a wild card depending on how Williams does. You guys
Colin,
have a good run.
What do you think of our free agent pickups?
Most of them, I think, were all right. In contrast to what you had said about the second rounder for Montez Sweat, the difference between getting a second rounder who you pay nothing to and paying the boat for Montez Sweat is a big difference on that. Number two, I don't know if I like the Byard for Eddie Jackson thing. I felt like Eddie Jackson was a leader on your defense, and to kind of just let him walk. If you're going to bring people in, I don't like that. I don't like that move at all. But for the most part, the rest of it's all right. I did like a lot of those moves.
Colin, I agree with you. Colin, I agree with you about the other draft or the other free agency pickup. Did you see the way Eddie Jackson played the last 2 years? How many missed tackles and missed coverages he had? And I understand.
Byard didn't look very good with the Eagles. I mean, Byard didn't blow anybody away with them. They just pissed the season away. So it's not as though he at this point in his career. At least you have familiarity with Jackson. That's just me.
He didn't look that bad, but he was a tackling machine.
Yeah, 122 tackles, and that's probably 3 times more than Eddie Jackson.
A lot of them were for Titans, but a lot of them were for the Titans. And if you're making a lot of tackles in the safety, that means your front of your defense is doing nothing. So that's probably not.
Rob,
what other guy led 2 different teams in sacks?
Yeah, a fan.
Sweat I liked. I did like Sweat, but I'm just saying the difference between a second round pick this year and having somebody that you're paying very little salary to. I'm not saying Sweat isn't good. I'm saying the salary part is what's going to be the difference.
That is money well spent right there.
Go ahead, Rob.
I agree.
A fan just popped in and said they heard that they're going to be getting rid of waist tackles. No, they're going to be getting rid of hip drop tackles is what the proposal is. The NFLPA is 100% against it. They said, no, do not do this. The waist tackle, that's preferably, what we want people targeting, where your center of balance is, hit them like you're doing a 2-legged takedown and in wrestling, hit them in the hips. Don't make like you're a certain Lions player and start breaking people's knees, on a regular basis, but, at any rate, no, I do think you have improvements. I would agree with the fall off on Eddie Jackson's performance and everything. I mean, for that matter, the way the Harrison Smith isn't exactly what he was 13 years ago either, but he also took a massive pay cut to stay on one more year. My biggest question out of that group of everything you showed is DeAndre Swift. That's an upgrade if he stays healthy, but boy, you're playing, you're gambling a little bit there. All in all, do I think it makes me scared of the Bears? I mean, I thought I was going to be smart last year, and I brought my daughter to her first NFL game ever. It was against the Bears. While you did not score a touchdown, you still ended up winning the game on field goals. And you beat us for the first time in like 6 tries or whatever. So therefore, we no longer have a quarterback. Well, and again, you're in the same boat. I'm going to say that I do think you have improved your roster all the way around. Being scared is going to be quarterback dependent and then how that develops. And I'm sure you could turn around and say the exact same thing to me, and both things would be true.
Rob, I'm more like the Raiders game that went down to a last-minute field goal to make it 3-0 for the win. Just putting that out there.
So, if anybody has any questions, who's watching, please send your questions in. We'll answer as many as possible. But I'm going to go around the room. Bear down, Mike. I know what you're going to say. Probably what I'll say. Our biggest need still free agency. I'm still thinking we need that edge rusher, but that stock is a little dry right now. What do you think, Bear Down?
Edge, yes, it's probably the number one thing.
Punter?
Because we need a wide receiver 3, a center. I still think we need a veteran quarterback in the room, a true veteran. Not Tannehill. I don't want his. He has done nothing, so why would I want him in the room? Edge, pretty much. That's about it. Center.
Mike the Bear fan, what do you think about the Bears? What are our biggest needs right now?
I believe it's wide receiver 3. We have Tyler Scott in there. He wasn't real big last year. He had little opportunities, and I just feel like we could upgrade there for sure. I disagree on the center. We only really had one center last year, which was Whitehair, and he got bounced around a lot. You know what I mean? But we just picked up Shelton and Bates. I don't think we're going to look for another center. And we got Kramer behind him on the roster, and he was a draft pick a few years ago, but he hasn't really played. But I feel defensive tackle, 3 technique, the moves that they made to make rotational on the defensive edge, I don't think we're going to go that route. Maybe at the number 9 pick for a starter, because I feel like our starter could get better, but our rotational is pretty decent. So that I feel them are lacks in what we need.
All right, so I'm going to ask Ken the Packer backer, what are the Packers' biggest needs right now?
Biggest need with a glaring, flashing light is linebacker. We did not address that at all during free agency, and I really think we need to be targeting a linebacker, and hopefully the second round, but latest I'd want to go as third.
Okay.
And I would just one last thing is I'd like to add another safety to pair with McKinney.
Oh. Yeah, that was a steal for Green Bay.
Oh, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
if anybody was watching the morning show, they know I've been pounding the table for McKinney as soon as I knew that he was coming available on the market. This guy is an absolute stud. I cannot wait to see what he's going to do in this defense.
All right, Colin, I'll go to you. Hopefully you and Rob don't agree, so we have both of you to talk about. So what are the Vikings' biggest needs by now? Or right now, what are your biggest needs?
I would say interior offensive line and defensive line. I know they're probably going to end up trading up to get a quarterback, whether it's McCarthy, May, or Daniels if he were to slip. If they were to stay where they are, I'd like a Byron Murphy Jr. from Texas, clog up the middle. I love Tavondra Sweat, another big defensive tackle. I think a couple years ago when we traded down and got Lewis Crime Scene. He pretty much has been a crime scene since we drafted him. He's been completely not available, but pass on Kyle Hamilton and Jordan Davis in the draft was a disaster. Interior offensive line too. I'd be fine if they drafted a center because Bradbury's got back problems, and I think we need a bigger guy. Same thing with either of the guard positions. I think we need a larger player because one thing that got us killed was the interior pass rush on us. They're getting way more athletic on the inside when it comes to DT to defensive tackles, and I feel like getting bigger, more versatile guards would help out in a versatile center too.
All right, Rob, do you agree? Do you go with them? Disagree?
I do, but I've got a couple things to add. I think you can not as a priority. I'm going to say this is probably a number 3 priority. If I'm prioritizing, I think that the team has struggled ever since Linval Joseph left the team at nose tackle. And granted, we're running more or less a 3-4 scheme now, whereas we used to run a 4-3. We need that big guy in the middle. They did just about everything else. I love our free agency we've had, but we do need that big, ugly on the defensive side in the middle. I would prioritize that as number 1. Yes, Bradbury gets mauled by any top 10 defensive lineman, gets pushed around. I think we could stand to pick up another guard in there too. The third thing would be, I think we do need another corner. It's not so much of a priority to me because of the fact that at times Flores has anywhere from 3 to 5 safeties running around back out there, and they're pretty decent ones. So I think you can kind of back that off the priority list a little bit. But like Colin said, obviously, whether anybody likes it or not, every indicator is they're going to go up, they're going to move up, and they're going to grab a QB. If everything falls through, maybe they take the best interior defensive lineman available at number 11 and then try to get like Nix or Penix or something at 23 with our other first round pick that we have, since we now have 2 first round picks. So that's how I'd prioritize it.
Wow, Rob, sounds like you need a whole goddamn team. Mike, you want to pop up that question from one of our viewers?
Who would I want as a QB mentor? Well, I was looking at the free agents. I don't know about you guys. Carson Wentz is probably the best available one.
Oh boy.
I personally don't.
You know what? It hurts me to say that too.
It hurts me to hear it.
I was actually with somebody bringing on Wentz until one of the viewers of my morning show had mentioned how terrible of a locker room presence this guy is. And looking into it, he's had a lot of issues with the guys liking him in the locker rooms he's been in.
Oh man, I would have to go against Bear Down Mike. He says Carson Wentz, but I'm hearing too much about Ryan Tannehill. I know he hasn't done much, but I think that whoever comes in as our quarterback, and look at like the success Green Bay has with quarterbacks and stuff, about them sitting behind, like, you know, Rodgers, Favre, and all that stuff. I would think if Tannehill comes in, I would think he'd be a somewhat good of mentor to whoever we draft. And that's if we go veteran quarterback and stuff. I mean, Badgett, he's been, you know, he filled in last year for a little bit. He didn't impress me in most areas, but he did impress me, you know, as a rookie. And Rippon, what can I say?
Woody, would you be opposed to Nick Foles coming back?
Shoot.
I mean, this guy taking down Brady, a backup quarterback taking down Brady.
I would if Foles was there, definitely I would pick him over Tannehill. But is he willing to come back? That's the question. But if I had to pick right now, I would definitely pick Tannehill. That's just.
You could go get Zach Wilson. Just don't bring him to parents' night.
I was hoping somebody would not say Zach Wilson's name.
No, I personally don't think they're going to really get a veteran to mentor them all. If we get Caleb Williams, they're going to pray it's like a CJ Stroud and just shine. I don't think they're going to do the mentor thing.
Wow. That's another quarterback thrown into the fire for the Bears. But he's coming in with firepower with the wide receivers, tight ends, running backs. So he's coming into a pretty sweet spot.
What about Tyler Hunt, backup for Baltimore? Why not make a pick for? He's a similar style as a Caleb Williams. Why not give a 4th round pick for him?
He actually beat us when he started for Lamar Jackson.
The thing that I'd have to say about that is I don't think Baltimore wants to move on from him for anything right now. You'd have to make some whiz-bang deal because you know that Lamar Jackson gets hurt, and he can run that offense damn near as good as Jackson.
Right.
Bird in the hand, though. Maybe Baltimore drafts a quarterback, though, that can do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, you need a veteran. That's my biggest thing.
So I'm going to go around and ask, because I can. Bear Down Mike, we're on the clock. It's draft day. What do you think the Bears will do? Pick that number 1 pick, Caleb Williams, or we trade down with Washington or New England? What's your opinion?
I think they're going to go with Caleb Williams on the fact that on his pro day, Keenan Allen was there. So, you know, you don't bring that kind of wide receiver out if you plan on drafting this guy. So I think it's going to be Caleb Williams 100%.
Ken, you're on the clock, buddy. Doesn't matter if you're picking a player or you're trading. What's your first round pick?
Mine? Oh, if I get to pick, I'm taking Cooper DeJean because I think he would be an outstanding partner for McKinney.
It's Cooper DeJean, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's French.
Well, I don't speak French. I'm an Italian and Polish boy. I don't know that.
I'm Sicilian
Yeah,
too, so
if you were speaking French, that's how it'd be pronounced. But in Iowa, he's from Iowa, obviously. That's why I'm pretty high on him too. And I hope you don't get him. But yeah, he pronounces it Cooper DeJean.
Okay. Yeah. And he said he'd love to play with his old teammate Van Ness. There's nothing more than I'd like than to make that happen.
Colin, you're on the clock. You got 2 first-round picks, I believe. You just moved into the your second-round pick to the first, correct? So you have 2 first-round picks?
Right.
So who's
Yes.
your first? What are you doing? Trading or picking?
Okay, I'll give 2 scenarios. If we trade up, I feel like we're going to trade up with Arizona, and we'll end up taking because I think Arizona could move down to get Roma Dunze at 11, and I don't know if there's really a big difference between a Dunze and Arizona. And then they get another pick. But if they move up to 4, I think it's looking like JJ McCarthy right now. If they stay at 11, I think they're gonna probably go Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle from Texas, and then at 23, I would say Michael Penix because you get the 5th year.
So because they were talking about Penix moving out of the first round into the second round, but you never know.
If you get that 5th year option, it makes it a lot easier because it keeps that money on the table for other positions for 5 years.
Rob, who you picking? No Iowa boys.
No. Iowa hasn't had a quarterback in the past 25 years, so we don't need to worry about that. I feel like the free agency rumors about the Patriots wanting to trade out of number 3, even though they need a quarterback, they also need most of the rest of their team. They would benefit from having multiple picks. I've also seen a lot of traction from a lot of the beat writers, people like Ben Gessling, Kevin Seifert from ESPN, the guys on the Score North, even though I don't agree with them all the time, are saying that Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi are really, really dead set on trying to get Drake May. I think they're going to overpay in draft capital. I think they'll try to trade with the Patriots at number 3 and get Drake May. If not, I agree with what Colin said. You take Byron Murphy 2 at number 11. And I also agree with the Michael Penix pick at 23, although that's right where Cooper DeJean is projected to go. But we do need a quarterback. And between him and Bo Nix, I don't care. And I've seen the mock drafts too, where Penix is supposed to go and fall into the second round. I'm not a fan of Bo Nix. I would be okay with Penix. If it was Nix, I don't know. That's kind of a hard sell for me in the first round.
Everybody knows I love Daniels and I love Bo Nix, and Ken knows, and Nick Green knows we both love Bo Nix. So now we got our draft picks, first round, blah blah blah. So we're gonna do the standings. How do you think the NFC North is gonna go this year? I want to know. Bear down, Mike. What's your 4 teams in the NFC North? Rank them up. What do you think?
I still think Detroit's going to win it next season. I think that's going to say the Packers. Packers going to be the 2. We're going to be the 3. Vikings going to be the 4. Yeah, I think that's how it's going to go.
So that's your final answer.
That's my final answer.
You're sticking to it. Ken, I know what you're going to say, bud.
Oh, absolutely. Jordan loves taking his next step and taking the division back over. The Lions are going to fall back, and to channel some John Dorn here, they're going to be the same old Lions.
Yeah. Any Lion fan, please come on here and join this, because we want you to bark at John Dorn and say it's not the same old Lions. But
and then I'm going to have to go Bears just because I think they have a better overall roster than the Vikings. But the Vikings do have very good pieces to where they can be a decent team to where they're floating around 9-10 wins, depending on what they do with the quarterback situation. This division's going to be really tight.
Yeah, I mean, Vikings surprised me last year very much. So,
Oh, yeah, their defense turned it right around.
absolutely. Colin, give me something.
It's going to be the Lions in first again. Packers not too far behind. It's a tough one between the Bears and the Vikings. I feel like the Vikings made a lot of good. I think the Vikings made a lot of good free agent defensive moves. I think getting Grenner, getting Van Ginkel, getting Shaq, Griffin, kind of pretty much nothing. I thought that they did a really good job. I'll say the Vikings drop back and be fourth in the division, Bears. But I will say that I will really enjoy, just like a couple of years ago in Green Bay, seeing Aaron Jones put up 4 touchdowns on the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau will be very satisfying to watch.
He's going to be all over them.
You may think that, but you said that about Dalvin Cook too, and that wasn't the case either. So,
well, there's the major thing about Aaron Jones is he likes to fumble in big games. So have fun with that part of it, because we sure didn't.
It's fine. He had 3 touchdowns against the Cowboys, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, he was a Cowboy.
You don't forget that.
Oh hell no.
So Rob, let's go.
Yeah, I think it's really kind of impossible because we still aren't done with free agency and we haven't even had the draft yet to even try to think about this. But if we're going most likely scenarios of what we think is going to happen, I think you have to have the Lions, winning the division again. Everybody thinks that the Packers have a good chance to leap in front. I feel like the Packers might actually, Jordan Love might actually take a step backwards, have a little bit of a sophomore slump, even in year 5 for him. Anything can happen there. You guys still need a true number 1 wide receiver. Defense is pretty solid. You got a good running back in Josh Jacobs and everything from free agency. But let's see how things mesh here first. Vikings, yes. I mean, Vikings and Bears is impossible when you have at best a bridge quarterback that's going to play some games, and then with the intention of starting a rookie. It's going to come down to whoever rookie is doing better at the end of the year, I think, because I think no matter who each team gets, both rookies are probably going to be in, mid-season or whatever and playing. There's no way to predict that. I'm just going to go with my team and say we're like 1 game ahead of the Bears. I can't even put a number on wins or anything right now because there's just too many unknowns.
Yeah, and I don't want the wins. I just want to. But Rob, piggyback on the Packers and stuff. About jumping. Are you impressed with them being the youngest team winning a playoff game ever, and with their young wide receiver crew, their young quarterback? That has to be some being a little bit impressive there on how they worked out last year.
Yeah, I was actually impressed with the way that they, pulled it together. My battery's going to die. Hold on. Okay, I'm still on. Let me answer this quick, and then I got to go. I was impressed with the way they pulled it together. That being said, if the Vikings hadn't been decimated by injuries, we wouldn't even be talking about the Packers. Because Vikings win 1 or 2 of those games that they dropped with the backup quarterback, follies and everything else, the Packers aren't even getting a chance. That being said, the Packers made the most of it. Yes, it was impressive, but I just feel watching it, the way the circumstances and situations were, that they might have overachieved, and I think we need to be realistic about that. Yes, I do. But I'm not going to take anything away from them. They did an outstanding job. They went into Dallas, and Dallas is so dysfunctional at this point. That's like a clown show. That's like they're the new Detroit, I think it's going to be hard for Green Bay to overtake the Lions unless the Lions actually have a collapse of their own. But man, that team is actually pretty solid. If you look at Detroit's roster, yes, the back end of their defense needs work. That's why we have the draft, and that's why they're still looking for people and kicking the tires on some people. They just lost Cam Sutton because I don't know how hard it is to not throw your girlfriend out the 3rd-story window, but apparently it was just too much of a temptation for this guy, so now they need another corner as well. In the weirdest news that you're going to hear all week long. I don't even know what to say about that. But so that happened. But I mean, still, if you look at offensive firepower, the Vikings are going to struggle. Maybe a little bit, not a lot, but give it about 5-6 games. We get Hawkinson back and we're at full strength. If we have any kind of quarterback play, you know that's the stacked offense in the North with the superstars.
I got a question.
Darnold's not the answer.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Sam Darnold, the guy.
I actually kind of like Sam Darnold. I think if you look at the teams he's been on in the offense, the dysfunction he's been with in his career, I think he's I'm not saying he's going to be a playoff quarterback. I'm just saying this is the best offensive weapons he has ever had. And he's only 25, 26. I mean, Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey hurt half the time he's there. But they traded DJ Moore. So he's barely had anything to begin with.
Darnold was there when they had DJ Moore.
Okay, well, so Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones isn't the best he's had in his whole career.
That's by far. Absolutely by far.
That's by far the best he's had. And I'm not saying he's going to be the savior. I'm just saying I think that people are underrating him a little bit.
On our offense, I think he can be serviceable. I think he can not lose us games.
I'd take our backup in Tyson Bagent.
That's where I'm going to leave it with Darnold because, to be honest, I've never been a fan of the guy, but I am going to root for him.
Oh, well, yeah, he's on your team.
You know what? Bagent looked calm and collected in the pocket.
So,
Bagent looked calm and collected in that pocket.
There is a lot of what ifs for sure.
Collectively throwing picks.
And the Viking fans might not like me right now, but I literally think the Lions have the best overall roster. I think they take the division. It could go two possible ways. Like we could have a two-way jump for second place because I really think the Bears and the Packers, could flip-flop that second and third, but I think the Vikings are going to be dead last.
I honestly, when I said about the standings, I'd pick them. I'm thinking there's going to be a fight between Detroit and Green Bay. I have that feeling. I really do. I mean,
that's
like I said,
fine. These are always all recorded. You'll hit up on reels, and I even call them myself. So if I'm wrong, I'll definitely make a reel.
Oh, absolutely,
absolutely. That reel 100%. And I'm tagging.
I mean, if Green Bay took a shit this year with all the youngest team in the league, I might think different. I might think the Bears might go after Detroit for a division with the roster they have now. But Green Bay impressed the shit out of me with their young roster and winning a playoff game, first time ever, youngest team ever. So yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be a fight for the first, and I think Bears are third and Vikings are fourth. So that's just my opinion, and I'm usually right. So 98% of the time. So
yeah, but Detroit.
I love your modesty.
Detroit's going to have a tougher schedule, and it's not going to be as easy as last season.
No.
I mean, Detroit beat Kansas City game 1, so and that's the Super Bowl champ. So you can't really knock Detroit too much.
Yeah, but missing 2 out of their 3 best players.
Yeah, they also didn't have Kelsey and Chris Brown.
Did Mahomes play in that game though?
Chris Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, take it from
Mahomes played,
have
right?
an outstanding quarterback and still lose.
Hey, it's the first game of the year. Remember last year, Bears beat San Fran in the first game of the year, and look what happened to us. So, I don't.
Wasn't that in a monsoon though?
John Dorn, and he appears.
Yeah, he's always in the comments.
Yeah, he's John Dorns. He's and Ken claimed him, so that's always a good thing. But, yeah, like I said, we have about 11 minutes. Bring your questions in. I want to answer them. We'll have the panel answer them and stuff like that. And I see John Dorn, Fool's Gold Lions. Oh my God, it's not the same old Lions. Fool's Gold Lions. That's good. I like that. But yeah, I'm reading the comments.
Fool's Gold. I think the coach needed a little bit of a adjustment in the second half. But
And just reading the comments off my phone, and Dre Hardy says the Bears will fight hard this year. Yeah, they need to do something. This was our year. You know, it was a 2-year process with Fields and stuff, but that obviously ended. So depends who we bring in. Hopefully he can be like a CJ Stroud. But I'm thinking we're back 2 years, 2-3 years again. So maybe 2. But let's see here.
Woody, I have a question for you.
God, it's not a trivia question.
Sorry.
Right? No, go ahead.
It's not a trivia question.
Good, thank God.
What if you guys were to, if you were hypothetically were to trade out of the number 1 pick and say go to number 2, what would you ask Washington in return for just moving up 1 pick?
Woo. Next year's first, second, and the following year's first.
Oh,
Heck yeah.
Let it ride.
Hell yeah.
Let it
one
ride.
Hell yeah.
Hey,
wow.
That's me. I'm a dick. So there you go. I want it all.
Okay, back on planet Earth, what would be a more realistic offer?
I would say this year's second, third, and next year's first. If I'm back down on the planet. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Yeah, get that pick from Montez Sweat back.
I would think a second and a third this year and a second next year to me was about what I was thinking. But
Really?
for 1 pick up.
So
I don't think you'd have to give up. It's to move up 1 spot.
Hell
I
yeah,
mean,
you're getting your player.
If you want that quarterback, you're going to pay it for it.
Yeah, it all depends on how bad they.
you're
want
getting 2
Williams.
Yeah, but it's quarterback A or quarterback B. You already said that you'd rather have Jaden Daniels. So
Absolutely. But we're gonna make the offer real sweet. Yeah, that's what I said, Dre, too. But like I said, our defense, we still need that edge rusher. We have a great secondary. Our linebackers are phenomenal. We just need to hit the quarterback, at least touch the quarterback this year. I mean, at the end of the year, we were number 1 in rushing defense. We had we ended up with 22 interceptions the last 5-6 weeks. So our defense is pretty solid. You know, we need an edge rusher, but depends all we have behind the rock. So nobody agrees with me. I want Daniels over Williams, but that's just me.
I agree with you, actually.
Yeah. So Poles better make a right decision, because this will be – because say if Caleb Williams and he starts and he does the same thing Fields does, I think Poles and Flus are gone next year.
I don't think Poles will be gone just because of the roster he put together.
Yeah. So
who would you guys look at pick 9?
I still would.
What if Roma Dunze was sitting there at 9? Would you take Roma Dunze? Is your number 3?
I'm back on your question. I'm gonna piggyback it. If you only had 4 draft picks this year, do you think you would trade out of 9 and get some draft capital?
Nope. I wouldn't.
No. Minnesota, you want to trade up? You want the number 9 pick? You want JJ?
No. Rome at our slot, that would be, man, that'd be nice with Allen and Moore with Komet as a tight end. Like, I would love that for sure. If you look at our
especially with Allen only being a 1-year deal. I mean, I think Dunze could step right in if he didn't want to re-sign Allen.
Or does Poles trust Braxton Jones enough to develop more? Or do you take Joe Alt number 9 if he's available?
I don't think there's any way he's available at 9.
If
9, I don't.
I agree.
If we're staying at 9,
hypothetically we're saying he's available at 9. Do you take him?
I'd take Joe Alt.
I think you have to take him.
I think he's going to go to the Jets, but that's just me. So.
Unpopular choice. I think Rome. Yeah. I mean, if we're staying at 9 and we need that, I would definitely pick yes, I am, Ken. Shut up. Aren't you supposed to be on vacation, idiot? But anyway, if we're not trading out of 9 picks, I would definitely pick Rome to pick up that third wide receiver slot, and but that's if we're not trading the 9th pick. But see, everything changed now with us trading Fields because my normal thing was picking up Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 1 and then trading the 9 pick because we got our wide receiver. But everything changed and took a shit on me. But what are you going to do?
Well, we know Arizona's going to take him.
Yep.
Martin Harrison.
Yep. So
Well, the GM said he was open for business. Just announced it yesterday. He's like, we're open for business at 4. So
they're going to trade Kyler Murray?
no,
That's a lot of money. That's a lot.
No,
to
I'm talking about the pick, not Kyler.
Oh, the pick. The pick's for sale. I was going to say that's a lot for that quarterback who's hurt a lot.
So we got about 4 minutes left. I'm going to go around and say your final thoughts till tomorrow's show. Bear down, Mike. What are your final thoughts of today or anywhere in the NFL? Go ahead, shoot.
I hope they find Cam Sutton. I know he's still missing. I saw something that they're not going to ban the tush push. They're going to make it legal to do. So I'm not surprised. You know, you got to learn how to stop it. So,
okay. Well, Jason Kelsey is going to miss that tush push. He already said that. Ken, what are your final thoughts of anywhere your team all over the NFL? Go ahead, shoot.
That Green Bay is going to be taking over the division again, and it's going to be a nice long ride with Jordan Love. Go, Pack, go.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
He wants to shave that beard again. He wants to shave that beard.
Yeah.
Colin, what do you think? Final thoughts. I want to thank you for coming on the show today, bud. It's good seeing you again.
Seeing you, been a while. I think a team that is going to surprise everybody, and I think they just got better, is the Houston Texans.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised the Bears didn't make more of a move for Danielle Hunter. You could totally have broken my heart and signed Danielle Hunter. I don't know why he didn't do it, but him going to Houston, and then they just look frightening, and they're not in a very tough division. So I think they're going to run that division for the next 5 years.
Yeah, watching Houston and Jaguars go at it, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and the
Jaguars got a lot better.
I guess what? They just gave the Cowboys Dameon Pierce, I believe. So that's
well, it's good that the Cowboys finally found a running back.
Yeah, well, they had nobody. So, and they were trying to get Elliott wanted to come back, and Cowboys said, "Hell no, hell no." So
keep your ass in New England.
But yeah, my final thought is that, like I said, I'm impressed with the Bears and what they did in free agency. We need to address some others in the draft, maybe, or sneak up and get some other free agents or whatever. Like I said, an edge rusher, and we'll be right. We'll be right there. We're known last couple of years for not sacking the quarterback at all. And we need to get that edge rusher. We brought in Yannick, and he took a shit as well. He's probably one of the worst run stoppers in the league. That's what I thought. So obviously we're not re-signing him. So, but yeah, I just want the Bears to be competitive this year with that division. We should have beat the Lions twice. Jalen Johnson dropping that pick six that could have won the game, but who's counting? So we re-signed him as well. So bear down, everybody. Have a good night, and thank you for everybody being on the show.
Yep,
bear down.
Have a good one.
You too.
We'll see everybody tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Right, Woody?
12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ken, you can't say nothing because you're on the West Coast right now.